that's getting bigger. With world-famous players and coaches, and fierce competition for the ultimate title, where nothing can be taken for granted. What about giving an Eastern flavor to your soccer? The Chinese Super League on onesoccer.
Amidst the drama of a penalty shootout, the Montreal Impact finished Toronto FC's 3-year Canadian Championship dominance, claiming their first cup since 2014. We look at two young stars from FC Edmonton and Valor. Easton Ongaro and Tyler Hurtado are under the spotlight. With their first win over Pacific last Sunday, Cavalry are back at the top of the full season table. We analyse in depth the style of play that has led the Cavs to become the top squad in the CPL. And we look at the short but intense career of Michael Petrasso, the Valor player who can play in several positions, something Rob Gale and managers all over the world appreciate. There were big wins for York 9 and Cavalry over FC Edmond and Pacific, respectively, whilst Halifax and Valor's match ended in a goalless draw. Last night, despite a 1-0 loss at Toronto, Montreal won on penalties to claim their first Canadian Championship since 2014. Montreal Impact ended Toronto FC's supremacy in the Canadian Championship, defeating them on penalties. With a 1-goal advantage, Montreal showed solid defensive positioning and were ready to hit Toronto on the counter-attack, like this one, which ended with Maximiliano Urruti's attempt in the 12th minute. The best opportunities were generated by Jose Altidore when he controlled the ball in the area midway through the first half, but his shot went over. There was also an individual move on the right side. 10 minutes before half-time, United States international centre-back Omar Gonzalez's header off a corner went wide, but only just. In the very last minute of the first stanza, Altidore had another chance, but his shot across the face of goal went wide. Larea ran from side to side and found Jonathan Osorio, whose shot hit the post. 20 minutes into the second half, the Impact could have doubled their aggregate lead, but a cross by Urruti into the box was cleared by Auro's hand. The referee did not notice it, and thus there was no penalty called. Montreal kept taking advantage of the space generated in Toronto's defence, and Piatti was close to scoring midway through the second half. But 20 minutes before the end, Toronto tied the aggregate score. It came from a corner kick delivered quickly that finished off in the box. Osorio controlled the ball and it ended with Endo sending it into the back of the net. With 6 minutes still remaining and Toronto on the attack, Montreal had a great counter opportunity. A sensational pass by Bojan left Lapalainen alone on goal, but his run was stopped by a tackle from behind by Mavinga, who was shown a red card for his troubles. Bojan's delivery off the set piece was also close to putting Montreal back. With a one-man advantage, the Impact moved upfield, and off a good cross by Lapalainen, Piatti almost scored in the last minute. His shot clanged against the woodwork. With the final score 1-0 in favour of Toronto, the championship would be decided on penalties. Montreal would convert all of their attempts, whilst Toronto only converted 1 of 3. Goalkeeper Clement Diop was the hero of the hour, stopping Patrick Mullins' attempt and on the final penalty, Osorio hit the post. Montreal thus end Toronto's run of 3 consecutive years winning the Canadian Championship. The title is the Impact's first since 2014. Captain Ignacio Piatti lifted the Voyageurs Cup and teammates and staff celebrated in style. It was the end of a sensational run by Montreal, eliminating York 9, Cavalry and Toronto along the way. Now, the Impact will represent Canada in the CONCACAF Champions League. The gap between Cavalry and Forge and the rest of the squads in the CPL keeps on growing. The fight for third place is so close that 4 teams are separated by just 2 points. Currently, York 9 are on top of that battle with 16 points. A goal at Cavalry allowed Pacific forward Terran Campbell to move back to the leadership of the Golden Boot standings. Marco Carducci is only 1 clean sheet away from reaching 10 this season. The up from our new up and down section is York 9 forward Ryan Telfer. After making his debut and scoring a fortnight ago with Trinidad and Tobago, Telfer had a superb performance in the Nine Stripes win at Edmonton.
Again, square for Hamilton, the third substitute. Escalante's moved out to this right-hand side. Left footed, might try to curl one. Oh, it's beautiful. Terrific stuff. Exclamation points for Cavalry. Second goal for Escalante. It's 4 for Cavalry. They're heading back to the top of the CPL standings. Cavalry 4, Pacific 1. It opened up. There was only one thing in his mind, and that's the sort of skill that Escalante brings to Cavalry and to the Canadian Premier League.
Taken by Bustos and looks for the overhead kick, and almost out of nothing, but Oxner with a fabulous fingertip save to deny it.
One of the reasons why we said Bustos is just so dangerous in the attacking third. What a piece of skill for him, and an awareness to flick that ball up and bite kick it. And Christian Oxner needing to come up big time for that one.
Saved that time. James was tested. Pressure starting to swing back in Y9's favor. It's a good ball through, but very confident take, shutting down Telfer.
Played it into Atado, and Christian Oxner covering that near post. Arrows kept that ball going. Garcia's going to strike one, and Oxner gathers it at the second attempt. Well taken by Bustos and looks for the overhead kick, and almost out of nothing, but Oxner with a fabulous fingertip save to deny it.
Just the second corner kick of the game for FC Edmonton. It's taken long, but headed back into the promised land. Loose, Ongaro looking for the second, but he's stoned at the goal line. Couple consecutive fouls, and it leads to situations like that, and the yellow card should probably come out just to calm things down here. Telfer. High arcing ball off the left boot. It's met by the head, and the game has its opening goal from Luca Gasparotto, his first in the CPL, and it's 1-0 to the visitors. York 9.
Bustos into the penalty area. Enter this time. It's a very well-timed challenge. Nothing wrong with that in the penalty box. That was a critical interception. Garcia over the top. Paolucci gets on the end of it, and it's Ensa who's stretching out the sliding challenge to concede another corner kick.
Bouncing, and is that going to find the back of the net? It is. A complete meltdown in the box. It's a good fight from Abzi. Plays the ball in. It takes a couple deflections. Looks like it goes perhaps off the hand.
Went straight for goal, and Worth needed to punch it away. Did so. Tastes that much sweeter. Boucher's going to go for goal. Just curled it over the top. It is the final action.
John and now Bonner. Here's Karuma. This is shooting range for him. Takes the touch on his left foot, and he drives it, but it's picked up by Tyson Farrago straight at the keeper. De Carlos with the cross that might drop for Karuma here, and he's poked it through Farrago, but is flashed across the face of goal. Karuma's been involved in a couple of chances in this match.
It's a good ball through, but very confident take, shutting down Telfer. Edmonton turns it over. Adji slides it over. A chance for 3 for the Nine Stripes. 3 goals in 30 minutes, and you can pretty much put this game to bed. Ryan Telfer.
Clever, and the shot. Oh my word, what Escalante must score, does score, and benefited. Escalante's moved out to this right-hand side. Left-footed, might try to curl one. Oh, it's beautiful. Terrific stuff. Exclamation points for Cavalry. Zator well forward again. Malonga couldn't keep it down. Took it first time on the volley. Dominic Malonga. 3-1 Cavalry. Right down the middle. Foot soldiers celebrate.
Sexy as music.
On this week's show, Inside the CPL continues our in-depth analysis of each CPL team. Today, it's Cavalry's turn. Despite already having clinched a spot in the Canadian Premier League finals by winning the spring title, the Cavs have kept up the pace in the fall and have an excellent chance of finishing top once again. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. has varied his formation and starting lineup over the course of the season, but relies on a strong core of players that has remained consistent throughout. Cavalry started the season with 3 centre-backs, but have opted for a 4-2-3-1 formation for most of the fall. Regardless of their shape, the results have been excellent, with Cavalry conceding just 14 goals in 22 games. The Cavs combine an aggressive pressing style with commitment from their attacking players to tracking back and supporting the defence. Cavalry put plenty of bodies back in their own box. The likes of Derek Zator and Mason Trafford are capable of dominating the aerial game. When defending the open field, Cavalry look for opportunities to win the ball back and launch a counter. Opponents are funnelled towards the flanks, where the wingers work hard to cover the full length of the field and allow the fullbacks to stay narrow, close to the central defenders. In attack, Cavalry don't take many risks with the ball when moving it upfield. They don't hesitate to play long balls to the opposite flank, looking for the centre forward to find space or the wingers to create one-on-one situations. The Cavs thus avoid situations in which they could lose the ball deep in their own half. Once the ball is switched to the opposite flank, the wide players look to carry it deep into the opposition half and combine with an overlapping midfielder or fullback. Nico Pasquotti's long throw-ins are another offensive weapon. His ability to launch the ball into the box creates scoring chances. Cavalry have some major players throughout their lineup. Goalkeeper Marco Carducci was recently called up by the Canadian national team. He is ably assisted by Dominic Zator, who can play at centre-back or right-back and has earned plenty of praise for his performances in both positions. The defensive unit as a whole blends up-and-coming players with experienced veterans. Beyond captain Nick Ledgerwood, Julian Boucher has developed into the key man in Cavalry's midfield. The German has improved as the season has progressed. On the wings, Jose Escalante patrols the left and Pasquotti does likewise on the right. Up front, Dominique Malonga and Jordan Brown have shared the centre-forward role this season. They lead the line and have combined to great effect with attacking midfielders Sergio Camargo and Oliver Minatel. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. has plenty of options to choose from, but we have selected the following players as his best 11. Unstoppable in the air and efficient on the ground, Cavalry have shown that winning teams are built from the back. The Cavs have conceded 0.6 goals per game on average, and in Carducci, they have the CPL's top goalkeeper with 9 clean sheets. Cavalry have occasionally struggled in front of goal. Any team hoping to stop them will need to come up with a defensive scheme that disrupts their rhythm. In summary, Cavalry have been the CPL's most complete team this season. Built on a strong defence and possessing plenty of quality in midfield and attack, Wheeldon Jr. has constructed a group of players in prime position to be crowned the league's first champions. Valor and Edmonton have both experienced stretches in which they found goals difficult to come by. Both teams have had to fight through their own difficult run of form at some point during the campaign, with putting the ball in the back of the net a primary issue. During the spring season, Valor and Edmonton scored fewer goals than any other CPL teams. Both teams registered 8, falling short of a goal per game. In order to solve these problems, they've turned to 2 young guns. Easton Ongaro and Tyler Atado have become sensations among soccer fans in Edmonton and Winnipeg, respectively. Both players are in with a chance of claiming the Golden Boot, leading their teams with 7 and 6 goals. Young, tall and effective in front of goal, the two Canadians have become crucial to coaches Jeff Paulus and Rob Gale. Selected by Cavalry in the CPL U Sports draft last November, Ongaro did not find a place in the league until Paulus asked him to join the Eddies in May. Since then, the striker has gone from a squad player to a key starter, taking the CPL by storm. After going goalless in limited minutes during the spring, Ongaro has now netted 7 goals in the full campaign. Scoring once every 104 minutes in the fall, Ongaro's sheer size makes him a handful for defences and difficult to contain on crosses and set pieces. He is 6'5" tall and provides his teammates with a clear target when balls come into the box. He's also surprisingly good with his feet. Having only turned 18 in September, Attardo has become an important part of Valor's attack far earlier than expected. The Winnipeg native spent time in Italy with Chievo's academy and impressed in the league's open trials. In the last 2 spring season matches, Attardo scored 2 goals, immediately earning his coach's trust. In the full campaign, he's already netted 4 occasions. Boasting opportunistic movement and clinical finishing, Attardo has helped to lift Valor up the standings in recent weeks and has notched a goal every 135 minutes. In Ongaro and Attardo, Edmonton and Valor have found confident young forwards with a natural knack for scoring. Both have provided much-needed solutions to their team's offensive shortcomings. The down is Pacific's defence. Regardless of their youth, Michael Silberbauer's team made inexcusable defensive mistakes against Cavalry, which made the Cavs' path to victory easier. One of the most high-profile players to sign up to play in the Canadian Premier League last winter was Michael Petrasso. From the beginning, the Canada international was identified as one of Valor's most important players. The team from Winnipeg are chasing Cavalry and Forge during the full season, but are not mathematically eliminated from the fight yet. Petrasso! Valor's number 9 has scored 6 goals so far this season and added 3 assists. After missing 6 games of the spring campaign due to injury, he has returned to form and developed a strong understanding with fellow attacking star Marco Bustos. Petrasso is not an out-and-out forward and has even been deployed at right back this season. But as a left winger, he scored in 4 games in a row back in August. Cutting inside onto his right foot, Petrasso is a threat to both score and create goals. His ability to dribble at high speed has resulted in some lethal counter-attacks. Born in Toronto and raised in nearby Woodbridge, Petrasso's father and grandfather brought him up on a diet of Italian soccer, and he became a fan of Andrea Pirlo and AC Milan. His own first taste of the beautiful game came with Kleinberg SC, and he later joined Toronto FC's academy. A year later, Petrasso embraced the biggest challenge of his career to date by signing for English club Queen's Park Rangers. He was loaned out by QPR on 4 occasions as he looked to break into the first team, playing for the likes of Coventry City and Notts County. Petrasso also became a regular in Canada's youth teams and was named his country's under-20s Male Player of the Year in 2014. He made his debut with the senior national team in June of 2016 and was included in the squad for the 2017 Gold Cup. There, Petrasso started each of Canada's 4 games at right back as they were eliminated by Jamaica in the knockout stage. In 2018, Petrasso returned from England to sign for the Montreal Impact in Major League Soccer. A year later, he joined Valor and was reunited with Gale. who had coached him with 3 different national team age groups. Despite being just 24 years old, Petrasso is an experienced player by CPL standards and is looking to get back to his best to earn a recall to the national team. Alongside Bustos, he has been the cornerstone of a Valor team looking to make a late push up the standings. Petrasso! The end of the season is approaching and the teams are busier than ever. 6 games will be played this week, including 3 on Saturday and 3 more on Wednesday. Halifax, Edmonton, Pacific, Valor and York 9 will fight to avoid being eliminated mathematically from the race for the grand finale. That's all for this edition of the show, but we will be back next week for more from Inside the CPL.
Is there a better way to make a comeback than by defeating an opponent that you have never managed to beat before? Saturday, September the 28th, the Canadian Premier League. Wanderers FC Edmonton on One Soccer. York 9. It means a commitment to the future. A commitment with our planet. But above all, York 9 means soccer. An alliance between 9 regions, united as one to set an example in sport and everything else. York 9 on One Soccer. Legend says that to get here, you have to be the best of the best. But just by winning this cup, you can become a genuine Asian giant. The Chinese FA Cup on One Soccer. York 9 has grown a lot, but perhaps not enough to prevent the Cavs from running all over them. Saturday, September the 28th, the Canadian Premier League. York 9, Cavalry on One Soccer.
My dream for the league would be to be able to get Canada to that level, to reach the World Cup, and not just reach it, but compete.
We all love this game. We have a massive passion for it.
To have your own league, I think, for the development and for the country, for the national team, I think would be great.
A lot of players have come out of this region and gone on to the next level and played professionally.
Because they believe in the purpose.
This is what defines us.
Not having anything like look forward to, having dreams of playing professional, it's a good start to have something in Canada. It's something that we've needed.
This is something built for Canadians by Canadians.
It's been a long time coming, but it has already started. The first chapter of Canadian Premier League history is being written at this very moment. Don't miss a minute. Become a part of this on One Soccer. Although in Hamilton they're already dreaming of the fall season title, Pacific could give them a wake-up call. Saturday, September the 28th, the Canadian Premier League. Forge Pacific on One